evening to one and all, and welcome to this 12th episode of the PGC Weekly Podcast. I'm your host, Saurabh Kaura, and I'm a coursework officer on the Postgraduate Council. The Postgraduate Council is a student body that represents, supports, and advocates for all the postgraduate students. So if you have got any questions or concerns, please do reach out to us. I would like to start the podcast series by acknowledging and paying my respects to the Bidjigal and Gadigal peoples, the traditional custodians of the lands where each of our UNSW campuses are located, and all the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander elders, past, present, and emerging, and their communities who have shared and practiced their teachings over thousands of years. We recognize the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples' ongoing leadership and contributions, including to business, education, and industry. So today we have got Mr. Kumar R Jha as our guest speaker. Kumar is the founder of Opportunities Australia, which is providing opportunities to the people who need it the most. From free English, technology, marketing, and trade lessons to employment. He is a self-motivated and passionate advertising and marketing executive with over 20 years of experience. And he has worked with brands like Citibank, Kmart, Integral Energy, Radisson Hotel, and Swiss Hotel, to name a few. Also, let me just remind you that this podcast is not just about Kumar and myself, but it is for everyone who is either listening to us through Zoom or Facebook Live, or watching the recorded version of the same afterwards on the YouTube. Would be happy to take any questions which are coming throughout the session, even after the discussion is over. We would also like to thank Kumar for helping us organize an exciting Opportunities Australia Mentorship Conclave during the Postgraduate Week in the last week of June. So the topic for today's podcast is a pretty interesting one related to the opportunities provided by Opportunities Australia. And my first question is related to your company itself, Kumar, as to how was it founded and what exactly was the main motive and objective of founding Opportunities Australia last year? Because I remember when I met you for the first time, it was coincidentally on a bushwalk. And I didn't know that after 6-7 months, you will be founding a company which actually caters to this key problem of finding jobs for the unemployment. So would you like to share a brief journey about how you started it?
Absolutely. Thank you. And before I begin, I would also like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land and pay my respect to elders past, present, and emerging. Okay, back to the question. I have been seeing a lot of people suffering, in my network and outside of it. Anytime you hail a cab or you get food delivery, etc., it goes without saying there are plenty of very well-educated people, refugee, migrants, indigenous, international students, etc., who are very well qualified, but they are, there's a job mismatch there, and they have to just do these kind of jobs in order to pay their bills. I have seen pain of several people. So many people have gotten in touch. I have network full of these people, who are looking for work and who are looking for great opportunities. And based on that, I wanted to start this. I wanted to connect with all the, important, bigger contacts that I've had, all the partnership that we have created, and all the talks that we have started with corporates as well. So I thought, several times, one of my greatest friends said that you start something where you can be the bridge between the people who are looking for work, who know a lot of things, but because they don't know the right contacts, they are suffering. So I just, I couldn't wait any longer. And I saw plenty of people have lost their jobs, or, they were really suffering for various reasons at the time of COVID. So I thought, no better but this COVID time to start this and try to ask all the people, either to be mentors or to be brand partners, community partners, etc., all of them to come together so we can form this, coalition of, Opportunities Australia, where we try to help our people as much as possible. So It's all evolving right now. So it's been 13 months of starting Opportunities Australia. Right now, we have a team of just over 70 people. So, which is great to have. Everyone is university educated. A lot of senior mentors in our team, the likes of VPs of Woolworths and Citibank, etc. Then the people who come from educational background as well. So those who have taught in universities or have run their own RTO, which is registered training organization, which is a couple of notch below universities. So they know the things. And, these people, they have like 40, 50 years of experience under the belt working in the education field. So that gives me the confidence that all the courses that we structure, all the mentoring program that we get to deliver, this is going to be beneficial for the students as well as anyone who is looking for some support to be job ready. So yeah, I mean, that's a bit of a brief answer to that.
Sure. Thank you so much, Kumar. Also focusing on a very important question, Kumar, that you have a lot of partnerships in the market. And I guess you also told me that you have recently partnered with Salesforce, which is the supplier of world's first cloud-based CRM software that is used by companies around the world. And they are providing access to their software and specialized training to help people so that they can develop marketable skills which are relevant in the employment market. Would you like to talk about partnerships, including the one that you have with Salesforce?
I have known the CEO of Salesforce, Pip Marlowe, for some years now. And based on that relationship, I asked her in the beginning, can we start a relationship? And she said, okay, well, we could start off with the softwares, the CRM software. And then recently we have gotten in touch, back with Pip. And then after she connected me with the foundation people, and they were very generous, and they said, okay, we can open up all the Australia-wide roles for you. So right now it's 130 something roles. And they have also connected us with the person in equality. So equality in HR. So which is, probably the best person to be in touch with. So, these people, they look after the equality of roles, the equality of dispersion of roles. So, they make sure that, people come from all the backgrounds in these organizations. So brilliant to have gotten in touch with those people in Salesforce. And right now we are just tweaking up our ad and just fine tuning some of the things before we go on social and we talk about that. And the job ranges from junior graduate roles to senior roles as well. So various range of roles, of course, as you'd understand. Brilliant opportunity. That's the best opportunity of Opportunities Australia has gotten in 13 months time to get 130 plus roles open from one of the largest corporates. And they have also promised to be able to introduce us to their partners as well, which would be brilliant. So we are really looking forward to collaborating on this and be able to help out as many people as possible. There might be people who won't be job ready, who won't be ready for these roles. So that's where our mentors come in handy, who would be able to try to make these people job ready and be able to train people, until they become that. And so we can take them to an entire journey of mentoring to making them job ready, to be able to place them into a role, to be able to stay in touch with those people and be able to be called upon whenever these people need our help, in the years to come.
Sure. There's a question from the audience on Zoom, and they are asking me that is Opportunities Australia an NGO or for-profit organization?
It is not for profit. So yeah, in Australia, we term it as for-profit or not-for-profit. So it's an incorporated, not-for-profit organization. We have DGR status as well, which is very hard to get. So deductible gift recipient status. So that's the highest status that a charity can get. And we have PBI status as well, which is, which is a higher status as well. So benevolent, reason. So that's the area we operate in.
Yeah. Also, Kumar, coming back to my initial question of opportunities provided by the Opportunities Australia, it's a very anxious time for a lot of students around Sydney as well as around the world because of the anxiety and circumstances created by lockdowns and COVID-19 situation coming into picture. So would you like to reflect something on that part as well?
There are so many people suffering out here. Um, I have been seeing this scenario for around 2 years now. I did also partner up with some food charities in the past. We ran food for people who were really suffering, international students and indigenous people, and just the common Australian people. Um, so yeah, I've seen that, and plenty of people did also ask for jobs as well. So while I was providing them food, I was doing a bit of a survey as to who is just happy with the food, or they are actually motivated enough to get a job. And um, I was surprised, or to see like majority of people, they were looking for work. They didn't want to just get a free meal and continue getting that. So it was good to see. And but at the same time, it wasn't good to see that plenty of people were suffering and they had no jobs, etc. Plenty of international students, they had no jobs, and they had university fees to pay, they had accommodation fees to pay, and they had no support from the Australian government, which put them in a very vulnerable situation. So that wasn't comfortable at all. And I tried to help out as many people as possible with the food then. And I'm trying, as quickly as possible to form as many corporate and other relationships, so we can place, all the clients that we have got, and of course to make them job ready as well. So if those people can't be employed in, say for example, Salesforce or so, but these people, by the help of Salesforce and our team, we really make them job ready, so they can go to another organizations as well. And perhaps we can take them, to other partners of ours. So there are a few of them coming right now. Very happy to say that PricewaterhouseCoopers and Ernst & Young, they have spoken to us this week. So which is fantastic, and some more organizations too. So we have shared our proposal, and they have really shown the interest. Some of the C-level executives have been talking to us, and it's been a brilliant time. So yeah.
Also, for the students listening to us, Kumar, would you like to also tell when will these kind of opportunities be made public or in the social media, and how can they access those opportunities?
As I mentioned earlier, that we are just tweaking the Salesforce ads right now. So it will be publicized in Opportunities Australia social media next week. I can't promise you what day, like by the end of next week, that would definitely be there. So as we speak, our HR people are working on that, HR and marketing team. And besides that, we are in chats with organizations like Deloitte and some other who are in the process of opening up some other roles. So keep an eye on our social media, that's for sure. We do have a relationship with Seek, but we can only advertise pro bono roles. So whenever we are looking for volunteers, that's when we are allowed to do an ad on Seek, but we can't talk about paid roles on there. So the only place where you would be able to access jobs at this point in time would be on Opportunities Australia social media. But in future, we would put these ads, talk about jobs on our website as well. So we are working on that platform, which will take us some months to create, where candidates would be able to put in their CV as well directly over there, and then be able to look for jobs on our website too. So that will take us some time to be able to create that user experience.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kumar, for that. One of the other qualities, Kumar, which I have really appreciated, and I've been telling you before as well, that this is something which we can learn from you as to how to become an effective negotiator, and also to have great networking skills. And I think I asked you the same question when you attended the story of the growing startups as well, because that is a skill which is highly indispensable in current times, and you have been able to do that pretty well. So would you like to give some suggestions to the students as to how they can become an effective negotiator and also develop those key networking skills required in these environments?
Be good enough that people won't ignore you. Be excellent. So what I have done in my past years is I have tried to do as much social work as possible, so people could actually see who I am. And when you do things, day in, day out, for example, I joined Winnie's, team, and I've done CEO Sleep App for 7 years. So people were able to see that, it's not that, only recently that, I tried to become a social worker. So, like if you continue to do that, the kind of picture that you want to create. So I'm trying to say is, okay, so you want a job, you want to get paid, and you want to have success in your career, but what are you doing towards the society? That's the most important thing. And that's, I'm actually interested in that more, being, having running a charity right now. And even people work in the corporates. Why are corporates talking to me? Because I have shown them that I care for the communities, which is very important. And they also want to care for the communities. So as I said, in order to be a successful negotiator, you have to have the right qualities in your life to be able to be, to be able to differentiate yourself. There are people out there, who are very good at the trade. Someone might be a very good banker, right? And they might be able to have some clients, or they might have a 9-to-5 job. And they might be working internally, so they won't have to negotiate with anybody, and they won't have to, and on the side, they haven't chosen to do any social work for the people. So perhaps if that person, has an ask from, say, a CEO, or any marketing person that, okay, do us a favor, well, there would be a very slim chance for them to receive a favor, because they haven't shown any other aspect of their life. So what I suggest is do a bit of a social work, etc., to to put your skin into the game. I think as an international student, you guys, you have come from overseas. You're lucky to be able to live here, enjoy the lifestyle, etc. Enjoying the lifestyle is good. Now it's time to give back to the community. So when you start to do that, when you start to join the likes of Marine Rescue and SCS and other charities, etc., that's when you start to put your skin into the game, and other people would look at you and would say, good on you, mate. You are actually doing something for the community. It's not just taking, but giving back, right? Sure. And then besides that, how do you become an efficient communicator? Negotiations. My first job was to do with negotiations. My first job, whatever number of years ago, over 20 years ago, was working in a 5-star hotel, marketing the products in New Delhi. My first month was pretty shit. I didn't have many clients, and I didn't get to do well. But I learned, learned from a mistake, communication, etc. And I did well enough. Within a couple of months' time, I replaced the team leader who was there for 10 years, 10 long years. And within just a few months, I don't know what happened, what I learned, but I enjoyed communicating with people. I think one thing I would like to add in is you care for people. When you care for people, people do see that. That's the care I was talking to you about earlier as well, in other ways. But when you're talking to a person, talking to a client or something, like you've got to greet them with, with great respect, and don't treat them as commodity, right? Treat them as, as a real human being, and stay in touch and talk to them, on a regular basis or semi-regular basis, perhaps. And, don't forget to call them when you don't need anything from them, which I mentioned to you earlier as well, right? It's not about, conversations are not always about when you need something. Call people, and just have a chat. And, let them wonder, okay, what does he need from me? And, just continue having a chat, continue asking questions about their life. It's not about you, it's about them. People love to talk about themselves, right? Yeah. Ask them how their day was. Ask them, what made them successful. Ask their story. Listen more, and speak less. I think that's brilliant. And show real interest in people. And then show real interest in the communities as well. Don't push. Another thing I've learned is, if you want something from people, let them know that, this is something, it would be best if you just let them know indirectly, and you won't even have to ask directly and get them to offer you something. That's the best communication. An example, I'm just thinking out loud here. An example is you go to an Apple store, you fall in love with the product, and you say, I want that product. Apple customer service person doesn't impose the product to your face. They let you play around with the product, and they let you fall in love with the product. And then you say, I want the product. And then, they just, happily hand over the product to you. You tap on the card and all, there's no even real financial transactions, etc. It's a very smooth transaction. It's a very smooth, great customer service. So I repeat is, try not to impose things on people. Let them know that this is what you're all about. You can follow up. You can follow up in a couple of months' time. These days, people are doing a lot of things. So, people forget about things. You can follow up in a couple of months' time in a very gentle way and see how you go. But if you continue going on about that, if you pester, then people would get annoyed. And, so let them know a couple of times and that's it. Whenever people are ready, they will come back to you.
Sure. I think, Kumar, you touched upon a very important concept of, and the example of Apple, the main objective of me touching here is that they are focusing on this pull marketing tactic, where the customers are themselves attracted to the products and the service that they are providing. And the same kind of phenomena is also working with your own personal brand when you are trying to develop it over LinkedIn and over social media these days. So would you like to comment on that as well? And as how can the students connect their personal brand to the opportunities available in the market and thus capitalize on each of those opportunities, which maybe people like you are offering them? Because there might be an opportunity in the market, but if you have not marketed your personal brand in the right way, you might not be able to capitalize on that opportunity.
Yeah. I am trying to remember a quote that, do the right things even if no one is watching, right? So when you are on social media, everyone is watching you. So make sure you post the right things, make sure you like the right things, you talk about the right things. And, when you do, so you are doing certain, this is your thing, like you're liking, posting, sharing things, etc. So this creates a trend. And people like myself, if I go around and try to suss out the profile, I would be able to have an understanding what kind of a person they are, right? So, for example, I go to your profile, I'd be able to see what's your activity like. So, make sure that you are just doing the right things, and that is going to make your brand. And yeah, just keep on doing that. Repeat, which is very important. Like do repeat, and come back and just do it again. And keep on nourishing yourself too. Life is not about, another thing I've learned is, what you get to showcase to the world today, you won't be able to do that next year. People would want more from you. And so, in this competitive world that we live in, you have to develop, you have to improve yourself every year. So how do you improve? I mean, there are some great people nowadays, information is so, so widespread, and, there's so much knowledge out there for free. I mean, we came here as international students, paid tens of thousands of dollars, in order to be educated. But actually, there's a lot of great information out there, which is for free. On Facebook, there is a channel called Goalcast. Goalcast is very popular. I have seen some motivating videos from there. Besides that, there are plenty of great successful people like Oprah Winfrey, Deepak Chopra, Amy Cuddy, who is a psychologist. She teaches at Harvard. So human behavior, body language. There are so many people out there. Another one, which I'm forgetting the name of, Simon Sinek. Simon Sinek is awesome. So just some real conversations with Simon Sinek, some deep conversations. So there are plenty of people who are doing their podcasts, etc., on a regular basis. And there's so much free information out there, and there are so many great people to learn from. But then there is so much information. There's too much information out there. So you need to be able to understand who to learn from. These days, everyone, even like myself, here I am talking to you, right? So there are so many podcasts going on these days. So you have to choose the right people as to who you want to listen to. And so you are going on the right track.
Sure. And also, Kumar, I wanted to ask you another key question here is we already talked about the opportunities which the company is providing for the students, but also in general to the larger community as well. The company has been doing a great job by providing some courses on English language and other courses, and also general mentorship programs. So, would you like to elaborate on the elements of those mentorship programs and what is your target audience there? Is it the general community, or who exactly in that community are you targeting?
We target three communities, in fact, more than that: refugees, migrants, indigenous, women, international students. We help out as well. So, we would like to help everyone. We don't say no to people. When corporates, etc., say, okay, well, give us your niche. You can't be helping out everyone. So then, our niche is that. And in partnership with organizations like I mentioned, Deloitte, Salesforce, and other organizations, Master and Homes, and so on. We are trying to reach out to those communities, trying to help them out. But besides that, here I'm talking to you, and if I could, I would love to help out the international students as well to get a job in the likes of Deloitte and Salesforce. These companies, they do take interns and the graduate roles. So hopefully we'd be able to help out as many graduates as possible.
Sure. And also, Kumar, last time when we met on the session with the story of the growing startups, you touched based upon some of the key elements with the budding entrepreneur should have. Now, some of the students who are joining today can be future entrepreneurs. Somebody out of them can be a future entrepreneur. So, would you like to guide them on what can be the skills they can develop to be an effective entrepreneur? Or if they are not thinking in that direction, what can make them think in that direction?
Being an entrepreneur is, it's a big thing. But some of the things I could think of, I have started my own ad agency before 7-8 years ago. Then I started the second company of mine. Things that I can think of, thinking out loud here, would be be persistent, right? There are so many companies out there. Just taking an example, I was an ad agency, right? So there are so many ad agency out there. Why would they talk to you? You got to have the charisma. If you are an entrepreneur, you got to have the elevator pitch, and you got to be real. You got to be a solid communicator. You got to be a solid negotiator. You got to have a big smile. You got to be real as well. And as I said to you, you got to be caring too. If you don't care, if you're just, saying, hi, how are you? This is what I have to sell, and, see you later. And, if they sold to you, if, say, for example, you were lucky enough to actually sell them a product, and that's it, you sold, sign a contract, etc., and see you later, and you never talk to them, perhaps you won't be able to retain that customer. So this is very important. Caring is utmost important. Persistence. You might have had a chat with a brand, say, for example, Deloitte. Maybe straight away they're not going to come to you. So you had a chat with, say, CMO of Deloitte, and they were respectful to you. They gave you a meeting for half an hour. You had a meeting, and they said, okay, well, we'll keep your details on file because we are currently working with another organization, and we'll notify you when there's a need. So you've got to be persistent in that case, so you can follow up in someone's time, and you can try to be nice to them in whichever way possible, so they would remember you, they wouldn't forget about you. I remember when I first, when I finish up my ad, master's in advertising course, and then I was looking for work in advertising, and I spoke to then the CEO of Ogilvy, who now becomes, a friend of mine, who is on, my social media. We get to meet, and, we chat like, And when I spoke to him, whatever number of years ago, 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago, he said, Kumar, be persistent. So the thing is, he was a CEO. So, there are so many people who'd be knocking on his door trying to connect with him, and he wouldn't know. It would be very difficult. So, be persistent and continue going. And what happened is, like, in the past, whatever, 10, 12 years time, I kept on trying to make myself better, right? And now when I, only recently, whatever, 2 years ago, I think, I went for a meeting, and, like, he treated me like a mate. So a lot of dimension, it completely transformed the dimension. We were talking equally. I was no longer, knocking on his door, looking for work, something. So I changed myself over time. I was looking for work in advertising, and then I started my own agency. I mean, one thing comes out of it is, if you can't get an opportunity, create an opportunity for yourself, right? No one opens a door for you. You create a door for yourself. In Australia, over 95% businesses are small businesses. What it means is you can start a small business, and if you have the right intelligence to be able to deal with these people, you would be successful. You got to have the right price range too. So in terms of business, you got to really have the right price mark. If you're selling yourself too low, well, of course, you're not making that much profit. But if you're selling, if the price is too high, then, then you might not have some, enough success. So price has to be good. You have to be persistent. You have to be a great negotiator. You have to be good at writing. I mean, you have to be excellent at writing. You also have to be excellent at reading the facial expressions, body language. And that's when I was talking about Amy Cuddy. Amy Cuddy probably would be one of the best person to learn from. So I would definitely recommend watching Amy Cuddy's videos. Besides that, be less pushy. Also learn about the finances too, learn the exit strategy too. You can only push a startup for, say, around 2 years time. Can't just keep on pushing and, go on a verge of breaking down, because, it can be bad. So, give your startup 2 years, and try different ideas as well. Even in that startup, if one idea doesn't work, change that to another idea, and keep the cost low. I was talking about that costing. When I started, I kept a lot of freelancers and contractors, which was great. They were almost working as good as, a part-timer or a full-timer. Whenever you have a job, bringing the freelancer and get to do the things. I have had teams of people, graphic designers, video production, animation, etc. I've had foreign partnerships as well, Poland, England, etc. That was brilliant. And I didn't need to have an office. All I needed to do was partnership. So try to have as many partnerships as possible. Befriend people in different fields, like, whether it's law or accounting, etc. So when you need something done, perhaps your friends can help you out.
Sure.
Also, you could have, in terms of business building, you could have a bit of a business model, like, I don't know how you'd like to share your business, share your profits. But, you can go as high as 50%. I remember doing that, so 50% of profit sharing with a BDM who I didn't hire on a salary. So that worked out okay.
Sure.
So these are some of the things I could think of.
I think these are some great ideas, using freelancers, developing those key skills such as writing skills, reading skills, also being an effective listener in that sense.
Also, you got to do the market research, right? I mean, you got to know what is happening in the market, and, try to find a gap, right? And when you have found the gap, work on that. As they say, like, build it and they will come. So try to fill in the gap with your great niche, and people will come and buy from you.
Sure. Before I pass it on to our audience, I see a lot of people have joined us on Zoom. So I'll give them an opportunity to turn on their video and ask you their questions directly. There is
Okay.
one question from a participant, and he's asking that how should I create an NGO and what's the general process? Is there any registration process to get the official accreditation for that?
Absolutely. You got to register your NGO, which is not for profit, through ACNC, Australian charity body. So you have to register that. Then even before that, there's fair trading. So fair trading registers your charity. You got to have an ABN and and all the other details as well. Then you go to ACNC, where you register your charity with the Australian charity registration body, and then try to get a DGR status, which is deductible gift recipient status, which is the best status possible. These are some of the registration that you got to go through. But if anyone is struggling, I'm happy to help out. Yeah.
Sure. I'll now pass it on to the audience. So we have Noman, Rehab, Shubham, and Vaishnavi as our audience today.
Mhm.
If any one of you wants to ask any question, you can turn on your video and ask your question directly to Kumar. Anyone interested to ask the question?
Hi, Kumar. I have
Vishnu.
bandwidth issues at the moment, so I wouldn't be able to turn on my camera.
That's all right.
You spoke about how we need to leverage our connections, right? From and make friends people from all the different backgrounds in different industries and different sectors.
Yeah.
But again, the thing is that how easy it is to keep those connections. Like you cannot meet everyone, or you cannot have conversation with everyone on a regular basis as
Mhm.
well. So, what do you think is an appropriate time frame that we should be able to connect with them? Let's say 2 months or 3 months, something like that. What worked well for you?
You've already answered it. There is no particular formula for that, but every 2-3 months, if you try to rekindle that, that's good enough. If you didn't really require anything from them before that, so
Mhm.
to rekindle, to stay in touch with people, every couple of months, 2 months or something, if you are staying in touch, then yeah, I mean, the relationship survives.
Absolutely. And that does answer my question as well. Because the thing is that I am a person, I have a lot of people who I know, I have a lot of connections as well.
Mm.
But I know that I'm not very good at keeping in touch with people as well. It's not that I do not care about them or I don't do that, but it's just that with all the other things, I don't really take that as a priority.
Relationship is the key, I must say. um, I am in touch with my friends. I am in touch with the working people, like close friends, and then out people who I work with. I try. And another thing someone told me one day is like, Kumar, it feels like, I know you so well, and that was the first time I was meeting this person. The reason being is I was posting things on social. So that was a person, a contact from LinkedIn. And I met with this person after probably 1 year of being in contact, 1 or 2 years of being in contact. So that person asked me a couple of times. So I said, okay, I will meet you. And this is what that person said. It's like, it felt like I know you very closely. Because, on a regular basis, I could see your posts and I really enjoyed your posts. I could relate with you, and I wanted to meet with you. So if you are, LinkedIn or Facebook, you are posting meaningful content, which I was talking about before, just relevant to people, relevant to your, contacts. They would like that. So even though you are not talking, which is not so good actually, like we got to communicate, communicate more often.
Yes.
But even though we are not communicating, like as we are posting out something, say for example, you're a student, you have graduated or you've been on a holiday, something like that, which is more of a personal level. If you wanted to talk about professional level, once again, you could say that, you have graduated, or you have, done this pro bono work, or, you've gotten that award, in some company, etc. There are so many things to talk about, right? And in that way, I continue to see your posts, like every month or 2 months, etc. And you remind me, like you stay in touch, even though you are not completely. But then if you actually do want to stay in touch with people, call them and, make up time to meet them, even though it's through Zoom or something. Make an effort. I must say, make an effort. If you really want to stay in touch with people, if you really want to value, if you do value those people, make an effort, because these days we are so distracted and we are not making enough efforts. We got so much going on. Even right now, I've got so much going on. But like anytime I have an empty window, like I'm between meetings, half an hour or something, I just, say, call my sister or call my best friend, like I rotate, like who haven't I talked to? And vice versa as well. People call me, my phone rings every day. I just spend so much time on Zoom calls and phone. People ring me, and if I'm too busy, I can't talk at that point in time. But I would call them probably in 24 to 48 hours.
Absolutely. That's actually a very good point, Kumar, and thank you for that. There's one thing that, from my personal experience, what I do is that, like, even if I have not been in touch with the people for a long time, but I do make sure that on their birthday, I'm the first one to wish them.
That's great. I try to do that too. But it is
Like,
very good.
It doesn't work. Like, it doesn't often work like that. But I get, like, at least I remember that, okay, this is the person's birthday. That's one day that I do have to wish them. That's one way of me keeping in touch with them.
Absolutely, which is very good. I try to do that too. Maybe you'd be doing better than me. But those people who are close to me, instead of just sending them a message on, whatever social media platform that is, I try to make it more personal and I give them a call. So that's good.
Yeah. I think it's really important to have a quality connection and retaining those connections over a period of time, as just pointed out by Kumar. One of the things that I have been doing regularly, Kumar, is whatever events I attend, be it online, be it face-to-face, I generally follow up with those speakers of the events quite regularly, in the sense that whatever I have learned from that session, I share those learnings, and then I try to link it with the journey that I've had in the past. So just sharing my example, but I am sure that you will be hearing several other examples here on the Zoom chat. And I would also request Vaishnavi, Noman, even if you don't have any questions, just come forward and share whatever you have learned. And that is what we are here for.
Yeah. Hi, Saurabh. Hi, Kumar.
Hello.
So, building upon the previous question from connections, like I arrived in February last year and we have hardly had a chance to go on campus. So in this online environment, other than LinkedIn, what are other sources to make some connections or meet some new people?
That's a very good question. Have you joined Meetup yet? No? So Meetup is an American platform. So on that, there are so many clubs. So I did join Meetup over 10 years ago. And there are so many things to do on Meetup, whether you're interested in sports or going out or any sorts of activities, you can find them there. The day I joined 50 different groups. And, so many interests you have, and, just join them all and see whatever events are good. You can go and join them. You don't need to organize things. You can be an organizer too, but I like to organize things, but it takes a lot of effort in order to do that. You're organizing your friends to come around. So it takes a bit of an effort. So whenever, I used to do that, like, last minute, I open up the Meetup app, Sunday morning, that is, I don't have anything in my calendar. It's a beautiful day. And then I open up Meetup. Okay, so what's happening Meetup? What's happening Sydney? And I open up and, there are some bushwalk groups, etc. I've joined. And I see, okay, well, so now they are meeting up at 8:30 at Circular Quay. and they're doing a walk from, say, Spit to Manly, right? Perfect. One day, whole day walk, 4-5 hours, whatever, I have time, and last minute I just join them. You can also plan things up too. And here we are talking about career. There are some organizations, they have meetup apps as well, like Atlassian or Deloitte, etc. Majority of these corporates, they have meetup apps as well. Even Fishburners as well. Right now we are dealing with Fishburners too, and they do organize events, and some of these events just get taken away. It gets full pretty quickly, so you can organize that in advance. You can see, okay, what are some of the upcoming events, and you can book your slot there and then attend that. So there's a lot to do. Besides Facebook and LinkedIn. There would be so many clubs around, right? In councils, there are things happening, there are leisure centers, etc. Another thing is Lions Club. They have different groups happening, they have several initiatives. So you can think of certain initiative and you can join them. Besides that, I was also talking about charities, right? So if you are charitable minded, there would be so many charities out there. And there are different purposes out there. There are charities for animals. There are charities for food. There are charities for education. There's so much happening. So maybe some of those causes could relate to you, so you could join that as well. Local community centers as well. So try to find that out too, and then swimming pools or anything like that, you could join that too. So yeah. So many options out there.
Thank you so much. There were many good points in there. I'll especially start with Meetup.
Meetup is excellent. You could join that, and you could join probably 100 group. You won't even have to do other things, unless you want to go into another charitable things or something. There are so many things to find out. So yeah, I hope you enjoy that, because I did.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, in fact, the first thing I did in Australia after landing in Australia was to join as many meetup groups as possible. And I think that's where I met Kumar as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we were going for a bushwalk from Spit to Manly.
Uh-huh.
In fact, that was the first summer I had in Sydney.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first time I did the Spit to Manly, which got repeated 3 to 4 times after that as well. So yeah, any other questions from the audience here? No one. Do you have any question?
Yeah, sure. Hi, Saurabh. How are you going today?
Great. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for making this show. And thanks, Kumar. We are hearing from you. A great opportunity for us.
Pleasure.
Just I have a questions about, you mentioned about the mentorship program for the graduates.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are offering. I just want to know about more what type of services you're giving them for the graduates.
So in terms of mentoring program, we try to make people job ready. So interview skills, resume writing, bit of other soft skills as well. Nuances of communication as well, as I was talking about body language, etc. And these mentors would talk about their career journey, if that relates to the other people. So, you could learn from their failures or, some of the things that they talk about. And yeah, having conversations about various things, whatever question people do have, they can ask them. So, if, say, for example, you come from the field of IT and whatever questions you may have, you can ask these mentors. So yeah, mostly it's about making people job ready. And eventually we try to find people employment as well. That's what I was saying earlier.
Okay. And how long this program ran for?
It's a few weeks. So we don't have any set structure. With Fishburn as a program that we are going to run, this is for 8 weeks now. So it varies between the requirements. So, people to people. So depending on the requirements, I've been part of UNSW's mentoring program, and they have been having me for 4 weeks, per student. So yeah, in that 4 week, we might have, say, 8 sessions, so 8 hours or so. And besides that, in future, if people have any requirements, of course they can, they can contact me. So I am there, like friends for life or mentor for life, whenever people have requirements. So yeah, we are just trying to suss things out. We are trying to see what works, what doesn't. So, based on the requirement of people.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Sure. Thank you so much, Noman, for your question. We might take one more question if there is any. And if there is not, then one more question from my side will be for anybody who has joined late. What can be the three key takeaways from this session, Kumar?
Be persistent. Be real. Right? Be caring. Anything else I could think of?
Have a big smile, I guess.
Big smile indeed, yeah. Be real, so yeah, definitely. And be creative too, I mean, I have seen lots of meetings around, they call it a creative meeting or something, and, there isn't anything happening. So you got to be thinking outside the square. I love that Apple ad. I go back to the Apple brand again. It's the crazy ad in which they talk about Mahatma Gandhi and Albert Einstein and all. Like you've got to be thinking outside the square. Everyone out there, they are delivering something. What's the unique proposition that you got to deliver? When you got your hand on something unique, that's when you're talking. That's when you're making money, etc. So don't just be a follower. Create your own niche, create your own path. Just a beautiful path that, that would shine the light and that others could follow.
Sure.
Something different.
Sure. Thank you so much, Kumar. I really appreciate you spending a lot of time today to guide the students and in fact, mentor students on a lot of key skills that you touch based upon, such as being an effective negotiator, how to network on LinkedIn, how to network in general outside of LinkedIn, and those key tips that you have shared with them, such as attending the meetups, attending all kinds of community events. I'm sure that each one of us has taken at least 1 to 2 key takeaways from this session, and I'm sure they are going to apply it ahead in their life. With this, we essentially come to an end to our 12th PGC Weekly Podcast, and I would like to thank you, Kumar, for taking your valuable time for this podcast, and everybody who has joined us today through Zoom or Facebook Live, or listening to us to this recorded version of this same episode on YouTube afterwards. I really hope to see you all in our future sessions as well. So in the next weeks, we are having some sessions on how to enhance your employability skills. And the next week, we'll be inviting our former PGC counselor, Vinti Vasundhara Agarwal, who is presently working in Outcome.life. And after that, we also have an interesting episode on for the women related to the traumas faced by the women in Afghanistan at the moment, where we have invited the founder of the Afghan Women on the Move, Mariam Popal Zahid, and also some ambassadors from Afghanistan in that episode. So please feel free to attend those sessions, and I'm sure that these sessions will be benefiting you. If you have any feedback or suggestions, you can give it to me. But for now, it's goodbye from my side and Kumar's side, and have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you
Saurabh.
very much.
Thank you very much, Saurabh and Kumar.
Thank you, Kumar.